What?
Hello, hello. Let's see. Can you guys hear me or am I frozen? Can you thumbs up? Okay, good. Because I know sometimes depending on where I am, we freeze. Amanda, that was a really cute picture of the baby. 4 pounds, 4 ounces. Is that what you said so far?
Yeah. He, at least I could see part of his face today. He still had his hand up in front of his mouth, but.
Fun.
Yep.
All right, we'll wait a couple minutes or 2 minutes or a minute and a half. Sure. Hi, Emma. Let's see. All right, we'll give it just another minute. Oh, I'm going to post that we're live over in the team page. I mean, we'll get started. We are already recording, so I don't forget. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with some housekeeping stuff before we dive into tonight's main topic. I did post the June calendar in the team page just the other day. I'll go back and type up some comments and elaborate on the calendar, but the basics of it are the 3-day refresh group that so many of you had people jump on board with for our flash sale. That is going to be open the week of June 3rd. So this coming Monday, the entire week, whatever day works best for them. So if anybody still wants to jump on board, they can. And then if I could get some people to help clean out that group, just meaning delete posts from our last group, we would like to have that available to start adding people to Friday night or Saturday morning. And then just some volunteers to post in that group. So if you have people who are doing the 3-day refresh, I'll create a post in Rise Up Empire. I did one the other day, but it was with some other things as well. It's 3 days of posting. So really we just need 3 people to get that one started. The following Monday, June 10th, we're gonna run, I'm gonna host, and you're free to, or welcome to add people to it, a 12-day free Beachbody On Demand group. So it's been very successful for Sarah Osmond's a big fan of those, and so I'm kind of using her outline for that. But essentially, we hook them up with a 14-day free trial with a calendar and give them a free meal plan. And it's a really nice way to get them introduced to our community and show them what we're all about without that major commitment. And then our 30-day group will relaunch again the 4th Monday of the month. So I know we're not to June yet, but go ahead and take a look at that calendar so that you can kind of decide what you're inviting to when. And I'm going to try this month to be really intentional about when I know what I'm inviting to that week, that I share that in the team page, because I know that I hear a lot of times, like, we have all these different things going on. How do I know what to invite to? So we're going to talk a lot about that in the next coming days as well. And I'll make sure to be putting that information in the team page so that you can have that. And even some sample invites. And if you guys have invites that you're sending, please do that as well. But as people are jumping on, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So thank you for joining us tonight. I'm really excited to have this guy next to me right now. I mean, I could probably get all teary. And I didn't even plan anything to say right now because, and honestly, we haven't talked too much about what he's even going to share tonight, just simply because I wanted him to have this, and I told him this, I wanted him to have the opportunity to share, where he is in the process and what's kind of brought him on. You guys know I've been coaching just about 4 years. So in August, it'll be 4 years, although I jumped on as a challenger in June of 2015. And I think he instantly saw that it was impacting me physically and mentally. And while that thought that was amazing, I think he was always a little bit skeptical of the business opportunity. And not necessarily that I couldn't make it work, but then would this be long-term? And what did that mean? Because, he's the finance guy and that's his specialty. So I'm not even going to really give you an introduction or give him an introduction. I'm just going to let him take it. And I hope you kind of lean in and think about where you are in your coach journey or in your challenger journey, and how this may speak to you. So take it away, Hunt.
Thanks. Thanks for being interested in what I have to say, because I'm not so sure that I have that much knowledge about coaching. I've experienced it from observation over the past couple of years, but sometimes things just happen and you decide to jump in and make a change. And that's kind of what's happened with me over the past couple of months. So just to give you a little bit of background on me, yeah, I'm her husband, but I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, moved to Cincinnati, went to college for 8 years just to get a bachelor's degree. So I'm not a doctor. It'd be cool if I was. I work at Fidelity, so I work in finance. This is, a weird thing for me to try and start a second job when my first job is so demanding. And I think that I experienced a lot of what, probably coaches go through from a resistance standpoint firsthand, but I also experienced it because I felt and did a lot of the things. I'm supposed to be her number one supporter. So the whole role of a husband is to support the dreams and support your wife. And I wasn't doing that. It took me probably 2 years to fully engage in the journey that she was trying to build for herself. And if anything, I was a detractor. So I didn't really take a lot of notes or thought into what I was going to say. About 15 minutes ago, I grabbed this, which is like our son's little like Wiggle Moody's thing. And I just jotted a couple of things down that I wanted to talk about. But the first thing is, why now? So why does now make sense for me? 4 years into her journey, and probably 2.5 years into me being fully bought into the fact that Beachbody works for people. I've been somebody who's gone to the gym since I was 18. I believe in eating healthy. I believe in being fit. I believe it's good for every aspect of your life. But it took me 1.5 years to engage in working out with her and trusting that there was something for guys that worked. And then the second part is, I didn't think that you could make a career out of this. I'll just be honest. I didn't believe. I didn't allow myself to invest in her belief. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because I didn't secretly want her to succeed. I don't know. Maybe I had ulterior motives. Like, there's some sick stuff that goes on in my head and I can't explain it. So it's a point in my life where I have to believe. I have no choice but to believe. You know, we're taking a big step in our family, and you know, the fact that this is our second income, I've got no choice but to make sure that this is going to work. And I think the point of me saying this is that you don't know when you are talking to people, because I hear her stories all the time. When you're talking to new challengers and new coaches, you don't know the situations that they might be in, and they might not be giving you the full story. They might not be telling you why they're resistant to whatever the solution you're trying to offer them is. And because you don't fully know the situation, you can't give them a solution, and they're not going to be ready on your time. They're not going to be ready in the time frame that you want them to be ready. So if you're looking at it as, hey, I'm trying to get this person signed up by the end of this month, and they're not working on your timeline, you can't get frustrated, because she wanted me to jump in years ago, and I never did, and I never wanted to, and I had no interest. And yes, I drink Shakeology, and yes, you know, what do you call it? Go-Go juice?
Go-Go juice. You drank Shakeology, but for a long time you sent people to something cheaper on Amazon. I would do stupid stuff. Like, I'd say, yeah, you can go, you can get the stuff on YouTube, and then you can go to GNC and buy some shakes for $20. Like, you don't need this stuff. But that was a lack of belief that this was actually the solution that made sense. Because, yeah, when you actually, for like a guy, I didn't care that Shakeology was plant-based. I didn't care, I didn't care about any of that. But give me the cheap stuff.
That's all I cared about. I'm a finance guy. I cared about the money aspect of it. Which
is why when people tell us that they're going to ask their husband about it, we all get nervous. Right? When they say, oh, let me check with my husband, we know it's going to go right.
But nobody, I don't think anybody on your team has been coaching as long as you have. And maybe I'm wrong, because I don't know all of you. But if you have a husband who isn't fully believing in what you're doing, that's okay. Because if you continue to show your passion and show that, you know, this is something that you're doing because you want to help people. Yeah, you want to make maybe a second income, or she's taking pictures of me. Maybe you want to make money as a second income. Maybe it's a first income. I don't know your situation, but my point is if your husband's not bought in, that's probably normal. That's probably the way that it should be, because we're skeptics. I'm a skeptic. I think men in general are skeptics. As I start to think about my career as a coach, I think that I'm going to approach this a lot differently than you guys probably approach your conversations with mostly women. I don't know if you guys reach out to men or not, but the more I think about the way that I would engage somebody, it's going to be a little different. I'm following some of the top Beachbody men's coaches, and it's just a different game. But but you never know when somebody's ready, and you can't give yourself. There's a phrase that I started using a couple months ago in the house. Like, I was telling her, give me grace over grief. Like, I'm trying really hard. I'm trying to do my best at a lot of things, and I fail a lot. And I'd rather give me grace over grief. And it's come back to bite me in the ass because now she uses it on me. But I think you have to give your people you're inviting, your coaches, your challengers, you have to give them grace that if it's not the right time, that's fine. Give yourself grace. You're doing the right things. Don't give them grief. Don't be pissed off at them. Don't be pissed off at yourself. You just have to continue to press on. One of the tipping points for me, to be honest, happened a couple weeks ago. So, I just switched jobs. We've been with Fidelity for 9 years, but I switched jobs, and my old boss, who's 5-6 years older than me, she's 42, 42. So her husband, same age, I've met him a few times, really cool guy, seemed a lot like somebody that maybe I would have hung out with, somebody that he seemed a lot, it was like a blend between someone I would have hung out with or someone that my dad would have been hanging out with and like would have been like a unofficial uncle to me. He got sick 2 or 3 weeks ago, randomly, went into the hospital. She sends a text message to me and 5 other people and says, hey, I'm not coming in, Brad's in the hospital. No big deal. That Wednesday, hey, he's still in the hospital, can't figure it out, whatever. Then, long story short, she texts us a week later and says, he's on life support in a medical coma. And we're all going, okay, well, you just took him to the hospital for stomach pains. He should be home by now, but we're not getting the full story. 3 days after that, her boss pulls us all together and tells us that her husband passed away at 42 years old. And that hit me hard. It hit me really hard because he's got 3 kids, 14, 12, and 10, who are going to go through the rest of their life without a father. Makes no sense. They had no time to prepare. I've known plenty of people that have passed away in my life, but they were ill or they were old and they were supposed to pass away. I guess I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but it wasn't a shock. I went to the wake and I felt like my brother had passed away. It was a really weird feeling. And I left there and I said, I am not going to not do things anymore in fear of what somebody else is going to think of me if I can help people, because I'm not going to live with regret. So I came home that weekend and I was like, you know what? I'm going to put a post out that I'm going to coach. And you know what? Next Tuesday, I'm going to do a transformation picture. And people have reached out to me and asked like, hey, good for you. What are you doing? Good for you. What are you doing? And it's mostly men. And they've never reached out to her, but we're mutual friends. But I don't care at this point what other people are going to do to dictate my actions. It just doesn't make sense. Is there a fear of what other people will think? Of course there is. That's a natural fear. Is there a fear that people are going to talk behind my back and when I'm at work, people are going to go, oh, did you see that picture of him? Yeah. I mean, those things are going to happen, but is that more powerful than the solution that, Beachbody has to offer people? I don't think so. So if I can help one person, if I can help 2 people, that outweighs the 100 people who might have said something negative because they don't understand or because they just want to be, in that camp of people that doesn't accept other people that are trying to help. So that's kind of the reason that now is the time. And I think the point I would make is you don't know when somebody that's looking at you will make that their time. So all we can do is continue to show that we're passionate about this and continue to grow the interest in the following. Since I'm a finance guy and math is one of the things that I'm semi-interested in, I'll share with you, I don't know who it was, maybe Albert Einstein. It's about compound interest. So you don't have to follow me on the compound interest thing, but if you get 1% better every day, at the end of a full year, you'll be 37% better at whatever you're trying to get better at. So my point isn't, yes, do those things. Yes, get better. But from a Beachbody standpoint, from a following standpoint, if somebody's watching you and they get 1% more interested in what you're doing every day, at the end of the year, they're going to be 37% more interested in what you have to offer. And for somebody who's 50% there, it might take a year. For somebody who's 0% there, it might take 3 years, like me. But then once you see it and once you understand it, you're all in. So I think that if you stop and you pause your passion, then they're going to pause their interest, and their interest is going to go somewhere else because the interest is there. You've piqued it, and it's your decision if you're going to continue to go down that path, or if you're going to get frustrated and, again, give them grief. The other thing that I think kind of put me all in was the fact that I can't really connect all so the only way to know why things are working is to look behind you and see, like, okay, that's why this happened. That's why this happened. Like, you can't see the future. You have to kind of create it. So I have no idea why I married her, to be honest. Like, in the beginning, I have no idea how we met. I don't know why.
We met when he was just randomly, like, back in Buffalo. He lived in Cincinnati. We were, like, at the same place at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know why we crossed paths.
We didn't talk for months later.
I don't know why any of these things have happened. But what I do know is that she comes from an entrepreneurial background. My parents owned a cleaning company, so entrepreneurial background. I've always had a passion for working for myself and being my own boss. I just never believed that it was possible. I never believed that it could be a solution to, my financial needs. She's made me believe that. And as I look back and think about all of the things that have happened over the past decade since meeting her, it all makes sense that she is where she is and we are where we are. But I couldn't have planned it this way. You could have given me a million shots at getting here, and I probably would never have been able to get here by myself. And, if one thing goes wrong the night that we met, none of this happens. So I think that for me, moving forward, as I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to build my business, I'm just going to trust. I'm going to trust my gut. I'm going to trust the fact that, maybe there's karma on the other end. I can help people. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I'll know that, and when I look back 2 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now. But I think that when I try and predict what's going to happen, that's when I get in the most trouble. So I just have to let things be. I don't really know if there was anything else that I was going to talk about.
Well, I think back to, like, over the last 4 years, personal development has just been so huge for me. And I know that, like, I would try to, because I'm speaking to, a bunch of wives, I would try to push it on him. And eventually you jumped on board to that. But, it still was that I think you had a big fear of what other people would think. And so, like, if you're sitting here and you're thinking your husband maybe has expressed that, or you're worried about what people are looking at when they see your posts. I mean, he was worried about every single friend he had, and here he's got great friends, wives who are right here, like, staring back at us. And it really does go back to that mission of believing that you're here to help people. And when he really locked onto that, like, that's all he's wanted to do. Like, his whole entire life was help people. And so for me, I had to, like, it got me frustrated at times when he wouldn't jump on board with me, because I was like, hello, this is right up your alley. Like, you can talk to anybody. I'm the socially awkward one. Like, you can have a conversation for so long. Like, it just seemed like such a natural fit. And so whether or not it's, your husband, or whether or not it's people that you're talking to that you feel like are dream teamers, or you feel like really need this community, you have to remember it's because you're already believing in it. And those other people don't have that same belief. And I think that personal development has really helped me to realize, and what my mindset has been the last couple of years. And I want to be completely clear with this. My goal was to walk Elijah to preschool. Whatever your goal is, do not apologize for that. It doesn't have to be that. It is whatever yours is yours, and that's huge to you. But I always lived in that. If I don't want to look back 5 years from now and regret not even trying, and I feel like he definitely had that same mentality. But I will say that the loss of your coworker's husband really kicked that into gear. Like, you have this one life to live. There are people sitting up in the cheap seats that are going to make comments no matter what you do. And honestly, some of our family members on both sides are probably the biggest skeptics. I mean, to be honest, like, let's not get into the family debacle, but they are. I mean, so those are, but at the end of the day, it was like, this is who we want. This is what we want to do, and why we want to help people. And so I ask you to, like, really just hold that close to you, that you're here to help people, because I know it gets hard. You get crickets, you get no's, you get people who maybe even make mean comments about your post from time to time. And it's easier to throw in the towel, or it's easy to get overwhelmed when you're listening to a national wake-up call from Beachbody and they're telling you to invite 70 people a day. I get that. Do you know how frustrating that is to listen to those wake-up calls and hear those new successful coaches are telling you to invite 70 people a day? Because I can tell you that I'm sitting here today because for 2 years, every day of the week, I invited 3 people. Like, 3 people. And so keep in mind what you're doing. I think if he thought that this, like, if my integrity was jeopardized at all, like if he thought I was doing something sketchy or salesy or slimy or sleazy, he would not be here today. And I don't think any of you would be there as well. But know that you are in it for the right reasons, and you just have to take that one step forward. I don't know how quick he's going to jump in. I've been listening to personal or Beachbody trainings like every day this week for male coaches, like, because I want to push it on them, but I can't do that, just like you can't do that with your coaches, with your challengers. You just have to love them where they're at, keep leading from the front, and knowing that you're in here to help people, and they're going to come. But like I said to him today, I was like, if I would have stopped this 2 years ago, and this seed was already planted in your heart, and 2 years later you wanted to do this, you would have been jumping on board to David Atkins' team, because I wasn't doing this anymore. So keep the faith.
I mean, so I don't know if all of you are married or not, but I can tell you, what she was doing as a coach and the way she was motivating people wasn't resonating with me, to be honest. But that's because I'm a guy. I think it's different for me. It was not resonating. So the opportunity to become a coach or to get involved and help other people, I didn't see myself being able to do that because I couldn't do it the way that she was doing it, and I really didn't have any interest in doing it. So I know you probably all have your own ways of doing things, and you all have things that you probably hate doing. Everyone has tasks that they hate doing that suck. The thing that, and this is not Beachbody related, but I try to take the things that I don't like doing that suck and add something that doesn't suck into it. So if inviting people sucks, and I don't know if you're inviting 30 people or whatever you're doing, I would be listening to Pink Floyd while doing that, and it would suck less. Like, that's just me, because it would be taking my mind off of something, a monotonous task that maybe I didn't like to do. But I think that there is a lot of fear in doing what you guys do. A lot of fear involved in what others think. A lot of fear of, is this right for me? Like, I think she experienced that a couple of years ago. A lot of fear in starting conversations. You all have different personalities. I don't like connecting with people online. I would much rather go set up a stand at the mall and tell them I'm a Beachbody coach and talk to people and shake their hand and be like, hey, come, I got a solution for you if you're interested in being in better shape and feel like that's me. That's not the way this really works. Maybe it is. I don't know. It can. There's a lot of different solutions. I guess you can ways you can work the business. But, you know,
I think we got to switch that fear though, and start thinking about how proud you are to have that, how proud of you are. You know, we start a lot of calls saying like, think about who you were before Beachbody. And I think it's important to remember that, like, who you were and how much you have changed because of it, whether or not you've been a coach for, 2 weeks or, 4 years. You've all made strides, and we have a team has made strides, and we have to approach the second half of the year proud of what we're doing and, moving in the direction that meets whatever your vision is for your life. And, I know it gets overwhelmed. And so I think I did post in the event, in Rise Up Empire event, that we were going to do a special call next Sunday called Success Simplified, and really break this down for everybody. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you don't know how to begin, or you leaned out and you don't know how to lean back in, this call is literally taking the idea of what we did for our challengers, and it's going to do a 3-week progression into coaching. And we're going to focus on different things each week. We're going to take it one step at a time. And because there's so much interest, we're going to switch that back to a Monday night call. There's no reason to have 2 calls. I was thinking like 2 people were going to be interested and everybody else was going to be like, oh, that's boring. But because everybody else wants to jump on board, let's switch that back to Monday night. Because I truly believe that you can do all the personal development you want, and you can work on your journey, and you can listen to trainings, and you can listen to calls, and you can get fired up. But unless you're willing to take action, being fired up gets you nowhere. You're going to wake up 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 3 months from now in the same spot, unless you're willing to take action and not just be an information gatherer. So that's what we're going to kind of start. You should probably join in too.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anybody else? Anybody have any questions or anything that they want to mention specifically? Do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, if any of your husbands want to connect with somebody who's probably been through the same journey from a mentality standpoint, I'm happy to talk to anybody.
I would love to see, I think so many times, and I was telling him this, I think so many times our challengers even say, well, gosh, if like my spouse would do it, I would be so much more on track. And so if we had a place for them, even, that would be amazing. One of the trainings that I was listening to today, he was like, I don't run challenge groups. I run a man cave, and we don't talk about our feelings. We don't talk about our why. We talk about cars and sports and working out. And it's just a whole different mentality. And so it's just something to talk about. Lindsay, there's some comments over here. Lindsay said, talk to Blair.
Yeah, I mean, I see a couple of wives of friends I went to high school with. Like, if I asked Blair or Mike to send me a sweaty selfie, they'd laugh at me. I mean, they'd be like, "No, I'm not doing that."
But they would check a box, and they.
But if I asked them like, "Hey, how much did you bench press today?" They'd probably lie to me and tell me 10 more pounds than they actually did. But like, it would engage them, right? Like, it's just a different way of thinking, and I just think there's such an untapped opportunity in this other side, I guess, of the business. I think you guys do a great job. I mean, I can feel her energy when she gets off calls. Like, we talk about it all the time.
I skip around the house.
But I want to be more than just a consultant now. I want to be able to help people and just not occasionally tell someone at work like, hey, my wife's a Beachbody coach,
But you also are a consultant, because sometimes, we, like, as a team, we are like, okay, well, I have this guy, he's working out, but I know, like, I work with him, and how do I approach him? And I'm like, I don't know, say like, hey, dude, have you ever wanted to try some go-go juice? Like, that's not how we say it. So now maybe you could help them. And I know that we already have some men who have kind of considered it before, or discount coaches, and it could be a way to draw them into. But I'm just glad that, you're finally a believer. I listened to a Rachel Hollis podcast last night, and it was actually Dave Hollis, and he was talking about when Rachel started building her dreams. And so keep this in mind too when you guys are thinking, because I know a lot of times it's easy for the hubbies to give us some crap, but he said that he was like, I was supposed to be her biggest supporter. I was supposed to be her best friend and the one that believed in all of her dreams. And when she told me she wanted to write a book, I actually told her she had a 3% chance of ever succeeding. And so she bought a bracelet that said 3% and she wore it every single day. And look at where she is now. And I think that's, you know, hey, Mike. All right.
I would say don't let anybody, I mean, I don't know what, I say this because I said this. No one should tell you that you can't do what you want to do, that you can't reach a goal or a dream that you have. I mean, I did. I mean, I'm a bad husband sometimes. I don't know what to say. I am.
You're human.
I'm human. It's the reality of it. But this, I don't know. There's something special with this. It makes sense. It's powerful. It's powerful because I've seen physical transformations are great. I know I posted my before and after pic, and I was thinking about, you know, oh my God, people are going to see me in my before and after pic, but fuck that. Like, oh, sorry. Oh, I forgot there were kids.
See, this is why for so long he's like, I can't even do this with you because you'll get so embarrassed when I swear. I'm like, oh,
sorry, earmuffs, little ones.
F-bombs make me like turn red in the face.
Yeah.
Unless I'm really mad and then they just come out.
All right. I'll learn from that mistake. See, this is a process. I'm learning. I've got a lot to learn. I'll figure it out.
All right. Oh, go ahead. And then we'll take our pick.
Well, I lost my train of thought. There's kids on here giving me the side eye. I don't even know what to say anymore. Cece's first word's going to be F-U-C-K. No, but I'm saying what I was going to say. What I was saying was this is powerful. This is a solution. I swear to God, I did not believe this worked for everybody. I do believe this works for everybody. I believe that if you give it a chance, this can be a solution for everybody. It doesn't have to be, but if it's the right time and the person is open to the solution and they actually put the effort in, because it's not just going to magically happen. Mm-hmm. It's going to work. And I think the belief that you have and the belief that everyone has that it will work is what's going to get people to stay interested. So,
yeah, agreed.
1% interest, 37% at the end of the year. That's all I got.
All right. I don't even know what that means, to be honest, but I think it's the compound effect, and we've all heard that.
Compound interest, yeah.
All right, so let's do a boomerang. Dan's first ever boomerang. Ready? You got to do something fun. Okay, ready? One. No, you do.
I don't know. I'm new. I just swore.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, now we'll take a picture. Tanya's so good at boomerangs. All right, ready? Smile. All right, thanks team for leaning in tonight. We'll see you next Monday. Have a good week. Success Simplified. If you're wondering where to go from here, we're going to start that on Monday. See ya. Bye.
See ya.